are not alone at that. There is a die-hard Will Ferrell train out there.
Did you hear all this business?
Yeah. No, you're definitely not alone. So thank you so much.
Your costume's so cute too.
I have the shoes too, but it's been a long day.
Yeah.
So I know this feature has definitely been critically panned, and for good reason, but I don't think it really gets talked about enough, and I love it pretty much just because of how over the top and whatever they try fitting into it, and that would be Lifeforce.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know that. I don't think anyone else does either. Everyone just silent, like, oh.
What's Lifeforce?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Brad knows it.
Yeah, okay, you two just talking about this one. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's written by David O'Bannon, directed by Toby Hooper. Cannon's probably the movie that created the downfall for Cannon, because it was definitely the most money they ever put into a feature, I think, until Superman 4 the next year. So, but it's about a naked space vampire running around London, sucking away people's energy. And eventually it becomes a zombie apocalypse movie. You get Patrick Stewart getting crazy. Yeah, making out with the protagonist who's trying to hunt down the vampire. I mean, there's.
Oh, but I should.
Wow.
Just like it.
No, I love it because it's just so bonkers.
Very entertaining. It used to get a lot of play on cable back in the day. Like it found its audience. It'd be on HBO quite a bit.
I just found posters. Can they show movies on posters? A naked woman strapped to like a rocket going up in space. Like what? Another one's just two a man and woman naked. Looks like he's stabbing them both with a sword, but it kind of looks like something else is sticking out. It looks. It looks insane. I actually do remember this comic. I'll say that. I was sort of saw that cover and I'm like, oh, okay, generic space movie. I didn't think, hey, that was going on. That sounds like fun. Yeah. I gotta know what the hell this is about. It sounds pretty great. So, I mean, I'll check it out. Maybe you guys will be on.
We're all gonna watch it now, so you sold your ticket.
All right.
That whole thing just sounds bizarre.
This also falls into the category of, maybe not necessarily good, but bonkers and fun. I will defend Cats.
Oh yeah.
You know what part of this is like, I'm a Broadway nerd who's always having to defend it as a musical to my friends. Yes, the movie is ridiculous, but that's because the musical is ridiculous. And like, if you just go into it with that attitude, it's just a bizarre, like fun, strange experience. And I think a lot of the people who hated it are people who just like went in not knowing anything about the show, in which case like, I feel very bad for anyone who tried to do that because...
Well, I think a reason people like the show didn't like the movie is it really is something that's based specifically.
Yeah.
That time and that staying on Broadway and stuff like that. Also, I think people looked at the CG and not the makeup and stuff like that. It's entirely different. We don't like.
Yeah, it is very bizarre visuals.
But yeah, I mean, people like it because it made choices and it went all the way.
It is unapologetic, and it's also like what I would have pictured in my head $100 million movie version of Cats would be.
Yeah, it went for it. It just went weird.
Yeah.
It is weird.
And it just sort of, I loved it too. I did. I really dug it. Because my favorite period of movie musicals is like late 70s, early 80s hubris musicals where everyone's just coked out of their mind. Gonna do the Apple, Shock Treatment, movies like that. I love all of those. And for me, I was giddy watching Cats. It reminded me of so many of those ones from like 40 years ago I loved, and I totally agree with you.
All right, I'm glad I have your
As
opinion.
someone with the musical theater degree, I didn't like it, and I went in very well knowing what I was getting into. And I felt like, I don't know, maybe it just doesn't work as a real...
Like, yeah, I will agree, like, objectively,
Yeah.
is it like a quality movie?
No.
Right.
But
But but I think like that was something that I realized that I didn't know about it until I saw it as a movie, because I've seen it live and I was like, wow, this is so random and so cool that these like people are being cats. And in this it was like, okay, so like where do we draw this line? When are they people, when are they cats? Because I feel like you haven't decided this, so why am I making the decision? Are we doing the CGI buttholes? Is the cat in the background wearing shoes? Why? Why not? It felt like there wasn't like a canon with these cats, and I was like, either make the decision or don't.
Some definitely
Were you like me, where when they mentioned a dog somewhere in the movie, you were thinking, I want to see what that
I
dog
want to see
is.
what that is. And why, you know, when a cat peels off her skin suit, she has skin underneath. What was happening there? Ew, rebel, put what now? Make the decision or don't make the decision. Don't make me do it.
Well, thank you for indulging my musical theater takes.
I'm here for all the musical theater.
So, hello. So, this is a movie that has been ripped apart by critics and audiences, and I love it. So, I'm interested to see how you all react, but I love Ghostbusters 2016.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, I think it's something to do with, I mean, there's just a lot of things. I mean, I left the theater just feeling really happy. Like, it's funny. It has the fun action sequence towards the end with the ghosts, and it has Kate McKinnon. I mean, you can't go wrong. I had such a good time in the theater, and I actually watched it before I saw any reviews, and so I just went with, I think it was my sister and a friend, and we just had a great time there, and then from then on, I don't think I saw anyone else say anything positive about it, and it made me kind of sad, because I just feel like it's one of those movies I can pop in and just have a good time.
It's definitely one of those movies, too, that falls into a category of things that people judged before they even saw it.
Yes.
They made the casting announcement, and they were like, well, God, this is gonna suck.
Women ghosts!
I mean, that aside from it, you know, like, not even that they were women. They were like, before anything that they released, like, they released a poster. People were like, well, what hot trash is this? I'm like, I don't know, maybe this is a movie? Maybe that.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, I think most of us are, like, either liked it or thought it was, like, average. I don't know how many people, like, hated it up here or anything like that. And in a way, I was almost more disappointed by that, because I was just like, oh, either one was to surprise the hell out of me for me to, like, hate it. And I was like, oh, this is, I don't know, I laughed a few times. It was alright. The action at the end was kind of fun and imaginative. Whatever, you know, it's kind of a little bit in one ear, out the other, but it's one of those things where I cannot go in and be like, Ghostbusters is dead, we're not. I will admit, it is one of those movies where I feel like if I watched it again, I would see more problems with it. So I'm like, I should probably just leave it as. But no, I mean, like I said, I definitely think if you're comparing it to the original, I can easily see how people, you know, can really not like it and stuff. But I mean, if it's something where you're like, okay, they're doing this, let's give it a shot. It's like, I can see it like being a totally fine comedy. I can see it like put it this way: if Ghostbusters never existed, this was the introduction to this idea of, you know, Ghostbusters going around zapping ghosts, I can see people liking it fine. Honestly, I don't think people would be, you know, upset this movie or hate it. I think it's because they have the first one to compare it to. Yeah, I honestly thought it was I thought it was like very half and half for me. And that was definitely a time we had to either love it or hate it, or you were something, you know. So yeah, there was, I guess maybe that was one advantage of me saying it was okay.
Yeah, I think part of it for me too was like I'm so used to seeing like men be silly on screen, and I'm not used to seeing women be just ridiculous on screen, and it was so refreshing for me. It's like they're not being the ones like, okay.
Well, and heroes too. They're the ones like doing the ass kicking. And that is something I said. That was the one thing I said I thought was better than the original. That's not what the original was, but that's fine. It had good action. I thought like the invention of the guns and like taking the ghosts and spinning them around and stuff. And even then when I brought that up, Pete, it's some people, well, that's not how the original Ghostbusters works, so it doesn't kind of. I know.
Yeah.
That's why it's better here, because it matches the movie. It'd be silly if they did it in the first front where they point a stick. This is all the action in the Ghostbusters, the first two Ghostbuster movies. So it's like, I'm gonna say that's better. So awesome, thank you.
I loved it too, so just so.
I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, hey. So this is my favorite movie. That's my sister.
Oh, nice.
And I think it is a perfect movie, and everyone I've convinced to watch it again has said it's great. And it's Speed Racer.
Ah, yeah.
It's a phenomenal movie. Like, it's so earnest, the family connection is so good, and it's just pure joy, like, all around.
Yeah,
Which has to be.
I will admit, because I hated that movie. But I will admit, I did have a headache. I don't think that's the movie to see when you have a headache.
Probably not.
And I did. I liked a lot what they were trying to do, especially with the visual style and stuff like that. Because that's a very ambitious movie. Not trying to look realistic though, and I admired that.
Yeah.
Just going for a visual style that did not need to look real. But you actually like the legitimate story and the characters and the comedy and the,
Yeah.
He didn't stutter, Doug. He said it was a perfect movie.
It is a
Favorite film.
like #1 movie. Like you watch it and you can just take it in as what it is. You just feel this joy and this community, and it's just so good.
A lot of people are saying, I don't know, maybe I should give it another shot, but a lot of people are saying kind of the same thing, that you just go in and this is just going to be an onslaught on, just everything, like, just nothing is subtle, everything is over the top and loud and bright and colorful and fast and speedy, and even like just cutting to another scene is going to be like crazy.
When's the last time you watched it?
Years ago.
Do it again. Everyone I've convinced has loved it. To watch it again has loved it.
You might be right, because I've heard more and more people, like a lot of people are really like, they have a real artistic background, stuff like that, say, no, like there's really something here, man. So maybe I should give it a shot.
Yeah. Get some. No, you don't need it. I mean, you can, but you don't need it.
It's done anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're the bench speed racer, you're artistic. Because that's an art in and of itself. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Hey everybody. One movie that I always watch around the holidays, and not a whole lot of people tend to really enjoy it that much because it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Yeah, Jingle All The Way. Yeah, exactly. Like I love this movie. I saw this as a kid when I was a really, really young kid. I even owned the Turbo Man action figure.
Whoa!
I wish I hadn't grown up. I wish I had grown up. I wish I still had. Anyway, I just love how completely goofy this movie is. From the two Arnold and Sinbad fighting over a stupid toy at the mall, literally dressed as the characters they're supposed to fight over. It's just something. I just love the overtop nature and how whimsically magical it weirdly is, even by the end. I don't know. It's just one of those guilty pleasure movies.
Yeah, it does set up anything can happen in this eventually, I should say. I will admit, kind of like Batman Robin, it's like, I just get into the insanity. This is pretty funny. I just don't know if it's always for the same reason they want it to be funny, you know what I mean? I will say, the big issue with me is that, because that was during the Tickle the Elmo thing, it was coming up like the Cabbage Patch Kids, so I was excited to see a really smart comedy about this, and honestly, the fact because that they cast Arnold and Sinbad, that should have been my first movie. But honestly, yeah, it is one of those where if you just accept it, it's just this surreal, what the hell experience. It is kind of fun. And Walter, like I said, you legitimately really like that movie.
I do. I mean, of course, it's another thing where I grew up with it too, and like all my family loves it, and we quote that movie all the time. Like all the time.
Who told you to eat my wife's cookies?
Down, come on. I mean, it's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, just seeing, I grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger in that movie more than any other movie. Like, I didn't watch Terminator until I was older. Like, that's how I knew him, was as this
Thank you.
Yeah, you can hear like people applaud and stuff like that. So I think it has an audience.
It does.
Yeah.
Hi, so I wasn't really sure what I was going to say when I came up here, but I really wanted to join the fun. I know that this is probably going to get a lot of hate because it's a sequel, and they basically said it ruined everything in the original, but Wreck-It Ralph too. Sorry.
Oh.
I like Sarah Silverman. She had a lot of energy, and I know that it kind of waved away from it. But what do you expect? They went to the internet. Like, it was going to be a little bit of commercial. Like, it was there, but I still liked it.
I liked it, yeah.
I know that.
I don't hate it.
I go in and they're like, terrible. They ruined the whole first movie. I'm like,
No. I didn't like it. I can't say I hated it, but I didn't like it. Honestly, it's like the commercial stuff you're talking about when you go to the Disney. That's like my favorite part. I actually thought a lot of the jokes they made about the Disney princesses were funny. I like they give a little pushback with everyone thinks your problems are solved because a big, strong man showed up. Yeah, what's up with that? Like, I like giving that pushback a little bit. And I like when she's singing the song about like wanting to go to that video game land, and the one that's like super violent.
Slaughter Race.
I was like, she's totally a Disney princess now. I don't care what you say. I don't care about your rules. Like, there's little rules to be a Disney princess.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Yeah, no, and that stuff I actually thought was pretty fun. The big thing with me is that I feel like they couldn't get the satire down as well as they could with the video games because it is Disney, and games like whatever Street Fighter and Mario Brothers, Sonic, you can playfully make fun of that and be family friendly. When you gotta make fun of the internet, nah, it has to be an R or something. And like when they're reading the comments, it's just like, nah, this one would be what they put. I'll even say this: I like the idea behind the message. I thought was pretty clever. I think does tie into the internet in many respects. All the routes that don't want her to leave, and they all kind of he becomes this this bug, and it keeps growing and growing. Yeah, virus. Thank you. And it keeps growing and growing because he doesn't want anything to change and stuff. And it's just like there's a lot of commentary you can get about the internet on there. But I think because it is Disney, they couldn't go that extra step. I don't know how much it ties into the first one, because again, all of it was about her being a part of that game, and then she's like, now I'm on to something else, and it's like, it's a little odd. But you're saying that everything that they were doing, it was funny, and it got into the dilemmas and the comedy and stuff.
I mean,
like
Sarah
that.
Silverman is just classically hilarious, I think.
Yeah, no, and I always love John C. Reilly too. Yeah, I definitely, the acting especially, I don't think anything was wrong with it at all. No, that's cool, man. And I'll tell you this too, because I know a lot of people didn't like it, but critics really liked it. Yeah. I actually thought I was going to be like, everyone's going to be yelling at me because I was like, oh, do I not like this, this critical darling and stuff? And it turns out a lot of people on the internet like, right, so, no, so there are a lot of people that do enjoy it, definitely. So, awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
I actually didn't know that people didn't like this movie for the longest time. Alien vs. Predator, the 2004 one.
I have a soft spot for that.
I looked it up when I was waiting. It's got a 21% on Rotten Tomatoes, 39% audience score. And I was like, when I learned that, I was shocked because it was my favorite movie as a kid. I loved it so much. I thought the idea of bringing the franchise together was really cool, with the aliens being like the thing that the predators fight as like the ultimate prey and stuff. I thought it was really interesting how they did that. And I thought the action sequence was really cool. The pyramid was really awesome. And I loved it. I had it on DVD and I watched it over and over again as a kid. And then like a year ago or something, I learned everyone hated it. Like everybody. So I have no idea.
Well, when Alien vs. Predator Requiem came out, though, like that made people go, well, maybe the other one wasn't that bad.
I'll say this: when it came out, I know there's a lot of people that didn't like it was PG-13, didn't like that, there were still a lot of, people in it and stuff, didn't like that it technically wasn't canon, it was kind of its own thing, and some of the writing's not that great, and characters, they were just there to die and stuff like that, but with that, I say for PG-13, it gets away with a lot. They just change the color of the blood. It's still gory as hell.
Killed a lot of
I absolutely love the movie when there's only one character left. I think, and there's like no dialogue. I'm wondering if this new Prey movie is really going to take a lot from that, because it kind of reminds me of that. And I love the idea now it's alien, predator, human. You know, it's just these three. There's one left of every one, and they're all fighting. And it's like they're the ones that survived, and they're all fighting each other. And I love that. And there's some good ideas in that. I love when the ship flies over and it makes no sound. Like, that's kind of eerie. I thought it looked kind of nice. So yeah, I think people got an idea of what it was gonna be. And when it did come through, they declared it awful. But I'm kind of with you. I think for what it had to do, make a PG-13 movie that's still hitting a lot of these tropes, I think it did it all right. It did it in a creative way.
It was fun.
Yeah,
And the best part was that it wasn't canon. They just got to make their little story.
I mean, that's a great point too, honestly. So yeah, again, I think it's not what people wanted to see, but I think you have a point. It allows them to do whatever they want. So yeah, no, I have a soft spot for it too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm a little short. Hi.
Yeah, you can point down if you want.
Perfect. Perfect. So I don't think this is really a hot take or anything, but people stopped talking about it, and I feel like bringing it up again. VeggieTales, absolutely delightful.
Which one?
All of them.
Yes.
Especially silly songs with Larry.
Oh,
I have
love
them on
silly
VCR,
songs with
and
Larry.
I'm like not Christian, but like that's like the least Christian like set of movies I've ever watched in my entire life. And like you know that Bob and Larry are together, right? It's like Frog and Toad. You know, Bert and Ernie.
No, it's fine. I've never seen anything VeggieTales. I've heard so.
You might not be like the right audience. You're not like 5 years old, but like you should watch it.
But I've heard so many adults. I mean, people my age say, "Oh, I love that show." Yeah. I've had people say, "I'm a diehard atheist, and I love that show." Yeah, like there is something. It's same that you said. Like people kind of forgot about that. I forgot about. I'm like, oh yeah, at some point I wanted to see that, just to see what people are talking about. Because I am curious about something that's winning over, not just kids, but a lot of adults, and adults that aren't even religious. You know, like that's a great accomplishment in my opinion. So I've never seen it. I can't comment too much on it, but you're definitely not. I've heard much more people like VeggieTales than dislike it.
I sing the songs to this day to myself. Like genuinely, that's like a common occurrence that I think of VeggieTales often. And that should say something about your like media that you consume as and I consumed a lot, and I still to this day regularly think about VeggieTales.
Yeah, my college has a club called Lettuce Club, and for the first year orientation, they just put on VeggieTales, and then they were advertising Lettuce Club, just eat a thing of lettuce with us. I'm like, okay, amazing. Yeah, it's great. Thanks.
There's really good meme pages on Twitter you should follow.
So mine is going to be an unpopular opinion, mostly I think because of the love for the third movie. But given the choice, I would pick Thor: The Dark World over Thor: Ragnarok any day.
Oh, what argument?
One is Thor: Ragnarok. I have to be in the mood for that sort of humor, where every serious moment is immediately undercut by a joke, and there is no room to breathe.
Have you seen Thor: Love and Thunder?
Director, and I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be more of the same.
You're gonna hate it.
No. I don't hate Thor: Ragnarok. It's just I have to be in the mood for it.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna hate Thor: Love and Thunder. If the humor is the problem with Ragnarok, yeah, it's like you got a problem.
But I also adore Thor: The Dark World because of the character development. The very beginning of the movie, it's like, oh look, the consequences of my actions, now my adopted mother is dead. And that carries through the film with all of the interactions. You have Thor and Loki acting like brothers as they're making their escape, and then the tension overflows when they land on the Dark World, and it's immediately a fight. It feels realistic to me, and I like that kind of character building, and I like that type of story building, and that's why I love it.
They are the best part, in my opinion, Thor and Loki. I mean, just Loki in general. When he's on screen, it's gonna be great. I'm getting when he's not in the movie. I don't know. I guess that's not a spoiler. I guess it's on the show now. When he sort of fake dies in the movie, did you still enjoy it, or were you still like?
So unfortunately, I had to catch up with all of the Marvel movies just due to life circumstances. So I already knew that he lived, so it wasn't like a.
No. I'm not even saying that like you fall for. I'm saying after he's out of the movie, because that's like halfway through the movie, or near the third act. And then you have the climax without the brothers interacting. Like, was it still entertaining to you?
I still enjoyed the action of the climax. I enjoyed the humor that was a part of it. Mew Mew lives rent-free in my head. It's enjoyable.
One last question. Your thoughts on Kat Dennings? On Kat Dennings in that movie. You like her?
I do. I have a soft spot for Darcy. Seeing her in WandaVision brought joy to my heart.
Fair enough. Very cool. Awesome. Yeah. No, and that's so funny because that was when it came out. Like everybody loved it. Then Ragnarok came out, and they went, So it's good to find someone. It's like, no, I still like this. I enjoy this. It does take itself more seriously than Ragnarok. Yeah. No.
Not everything has to be Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
That sudden whiplash took me right out of Ragnarok from the start.
I agree.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, he wasn't.
I didn't like it either.
Yeah. So no, I get you. No, that's really cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.